let's prove that for any a PA has to be less than or equal to 1. Okay, and let's prove this thing using only this 1, 2 and 3. Okay, I will prove this. Let's see how. Suppose this is my A. Okay, then whatever is outside A, what will be that? That will be A complement. Then I can write my sigma as A union A complement. This is a very general rule for any set A. You can always write your universal set or the sample space sigma as A union A complement. Okay, so what will be probability of omega will be, now you make use of this second, because A and A complement, they are disjoint events. So I can write probability of omega will be probability of A plus probability of A complement. Now I know that probability of omega is 1. Now make use of this thing. So I will get 1 is equal to PA plus PA complement. Now suppose somebody said that okay, PA is equal to 5. Is it possible? No, it will not be possible. Why it will not be possible? Because if your PA will be 5, then what will be your PA complement? PA complement will be 1 minus 5, which will be minus 4. Now A complement is also an event. So if the probability of A complement is minus 4, it means it is violating this axiom that PA has to be greater than or equal to 0. So for none of the events your probability can be more than 1. Based upon these three axioms which we have just discussed, can you prove that P5 is equal to 0? You can say this is so simple. P5, 5 means null event means nothing has happened. So nothing has happened, so probability will be 0. In a way you are correct, that what you have given, that is an intuitive answer. But I want this same answer using set theory notation and using rigorous mathematical steps. Before that, let me give the definition. That the definition, probability is a function defined on events in omega, that is sample space, that takes values in 0, 1. So what you have basically, probability is a function whose domain, what is domain? Domain is event A, B, C, whatever. So these are the domain. So it takes an event, say suppose B, and maps it to a number PB. Now that number, what will be range? Range has to be 0 to 1. Why 0 to 1? Because I have proved that first of all the axiom says that PA has to be greater than 0, and in the last slide I proved that P1, that PA of that probability of any event has to be less than or equal to 1. So this is the range, that 0 to 1. This is the range of probability function. The probability of the event is denoted by PA. Okay. Now let's prove that okay, P5 is equal to 0. Very simple thing, but I will just prove it using rigorous mathematical steps. I can say that 1 is equal to P omega. This is an axiom. Why I am proving these things? I am trying to reinforce this thing that these three axioms, they are self-sufficient, that anything, any general law you give regarding probability, they can be traced, their origin can be traced to one of these three axioms. So these are the basic axioms of probability. So okay, 1 is equal to P omega. Omega I can write as omega union phi, because union of any set with phi is that same set. Okay, now omega and phi, they are disjoint. So I can write P omega plus P phi. Now P omega 1. P phi is P phi. So what will be 1 plus P phi is 1. So P phi is 0. Very simple proof. Okay, so till now we had seen the mathematical axioms of probability. Now there is one very special and very interesting case. Suppose if the sample space consists of n outcomes, possible outcomes, which are equally likely, that is all single element events have the same probability, that is then the probability of any event A will be number of elements of A divided by n, that is number of elements in the sample space. It's very simple, because suppose your dice is rolled and you have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the 6 outcomes. Okay, and suppose all these outcomes are equally likely. Okay, then I ask you what will be the probability that an even number is obtained. Then what you call that's the even number event will be 2, 4, 6. There are 3. So 3 divided by 6 will be 1 by 2. So we will be using this law, that is for uniform probability law, whenever I have been given the assurance that all the outcomes are equally likely. Is another way of writing this formula is that you can write that probability of A is equal to number of favorable events. Favorable events mean number of favorable or number of favorable outcomes divided by all possible outcomes, number of all possible outcomes. So this is another way of writing this probability. What I can say is that if A is a subset of B, then PA will be less than or equal to PB. Now intuitively it looks very obvious that because A is subset of B means A is smaller than B, then obviously probability of A will be smaller than B. Although it is intuitively very clear, but let's give a mathematical proof for it. You see, I can write my B as this set B as A union A complement intersection B, because what is this? This is so A union B I can write as A union A complement intersection B, like this. I have to find out A union B, so I take full A plus this portion. So what is this portion? This portion is A complement intersection B, so I can write it as like this. Similarly B I can write as this portion plus this portion, so B is A intersection B union A complement intersection B. Now this they are disjoint. Similarly this portion and this portion, they are also disjoint sets. So what I can write, their probability will be P, A union B will be PA plus P of this thing. Similarly PB will be PA intersection B plus P of this thing. Now you eliminate this portion from these two equations. So what you will get? PA union B is equal to PA plus PB minus P in A intersection B. When you write these two equations together and eliminate this from here, you will get this. So you get proof of this thing. Similarly, since we know that PA intersection B has to be greater than or equal to 0, so from this thing what I can say that PA union B is less than or equal to PA plus PB. So this also can be similarly proved. Let me give you another example that prove that for any two events A and B, PA intersection B has to be greater than PA plus PB minus 1. This is also very simple. You take PA union B will be PA plus PB minus PA intersection B. Now what is PA union B? Because this thing has to be greater than, because this PA union B has to be less than or equal to 1. So this whole is less than or equal to 1. So when I take this PA intersection B this side, I will get PA intersection B is greater than or equal to PA plus PB minus 1. Okay. Now the same result can be generalized to n events also. That PA intersection is greater than PA1 plus PA2 minus n minus 1. How? Let's see. Suppose I have been given on LHS like 1 minus P of this intersection. I can write this as P of A1 intersection A intersection AN complement. Why? Because this is 1 minus probability of any event is the probability of that complement event. Because suppose I have been given say P of B, then I can write what is probability of B complement, that will be 1 minus PB. Okay, so the same thing is here, 1 minus P of this event will be probability of this event complement. Now complement of all these intersection will be A1 complement union using this De Morgan's law. Now whenever you are dealing with probability, you will have to on many occasions you will have to use these two De Morgan's law. So it's better to remember them, and they are very simple to memorize also. So intersection A1 intersection complement will be A1 complement union AN complement. Now this is union of events, so that will be less than PA1 plus PA2. How? Why? Because we have already seen that probability of A union B is less than PA plus PB. So the same thing here. So this will be equal to 1 minus PA1 plus 1 minus PN. So 1 you will add, you will get n minus PA1 minus something. So you will get this P of A1 intersection is less than PA1 minus n minus